And let's get right to the site. Here we go. CBS Sports MLB insider, former MLB Executive of the Year, Jim Bowden, joining us from Minute Maid Park. And Jim, set the scene for us there in Houston, where the roof will be closed tonight.
Yeah, a lot of excitement here. It's raining outside of the stadium, but the roof, as you said, is closed. It's 70 degrees inside. It's absolutely beautiful. And both of these teams are really loose. We just watched them take batting practice here, and both teams are really comfortable. Big contrast in managers, of course, as you know, Akeem, starting with Dusty Baker, who told me a few minutes ago that he's never had a team in all his years of managing that expected to win more than this team. He's never had a team that hated to lose more than this particular team. We asked him if he had had any phone calls today from anybody, and he said, yeah, my homeboys, my homegirls, Snoop Dogg and Bill Cosby. Okay. We asked Rob Thompson, the manager of the Phillies, the same question. He said he had calls from Joe Torre and Tony La Russa. Different contrast and vibe, I would guess, between these two teams.
Great insight there. The Houston Astros entering the World Series, a perfect 7-0. Haven't lost since October 3rd when Aaron Nola took a perfect game into the 7th inning. He gets the ball in Game 1. Jim, is there anything you can take away from that start going into tonight's Game 1?
Yeah, I think so, Akeem. I think, first of all, for Aaron Nola, he's got the confidence that he can beat this lineup. And I think that does matter. On the other side, for the Houston Astros, fortunately, they got to see him, so they know what to expect. And I think the key for Nola is going to be the fastball command of that two-seam sinker that he has. He has to command that, especially early in the game. And then I think the big question is going to be, how does his backdoor curveball work with Kyle Tucker and Yordan Alvarez? That's something you're definitely going to want to watch in this matchup.
Justin Verlander gets the ball in Game 1 for the Astros. Not great in the World Series, 0-6 in his career with a 5.68 ERA. He's allowed 9 home runs. Jim, which version of Verlander do we see tonight? Dominant in the regular season or shaky in the World Series?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Akeem had that hiccup against Seattle already in the playoffs. Maybe that's the one bad outing that he's got in the postseason. Look, he's going to win the Cy Young Award in the American League. He's been arguably the best pitcher in the sport. But how you do in the World Series a lot of times is a lot different here. Now, for me, I've watched him over the years, and he's really regimented, right? He likes to pitch on 4 days rest. He has this process that he goes through. And because the World Series has these 5 days off, he has not been on regular rest. That does affect him. So I think the key with Verlander is going to be, how does he do the first couple innings? If he can settle in, get the feel for his pitches, then I would say watch out. Because I think once he gets going, by the time he gets to the 3rd or 4th inning, I would think he'll dominate the rest of the way. But if he has a hiccup, I think it'll be in those first 2 innings, Akeem.
Couple of roster changes here in the World Series. Want to focus in on what the Astros did. Will Smith now on the World Series roster, the left-hander, which is the only left-hander out of the Astros bullpen. Framber Valdez is a lefty, but he's, of course, is a starter. Will Smith got the final out for the Braves last year against the Astros. Yuli Gurriel grounding out. Will Smith in the bullpen for Houston. What does that add for that lights-out bullpen who's only allowed 3 runs this postseason?
Yeah, I mean, you want to have a left-hander to mix it up with both Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper. Look, Kyle Schwarber is the glue to this team, right? He's the leader. He's the guy that gives confidence to the young players, help the veteran player. He'll draw a walk. You make a mistake. He led the National League in home runs. And then Bryce Harper is locked in. He's a 2-time MVP winner. In this postseason, he's as locked in as any hitter in the game right now. And although the Astros have righties that get lefties out, and that's what they will argue, and certainly Hector Neris and Ryan Stanek, both of them have reverse splits. They actually do better against left-hand hitters and right-hand hitters. You've got Ryan Presley with that breaking ball that gets left-hand hitters out. But I think what they wanted to do here, Dusty wanted to get that lefty just to have that other look. In a 7-game series, you want to be able to get a lefty for Harper and Schwarber in there. So that's the main reason why they made that move.
Well, and they did not move Bryce Harper up a spot. There was talk, there was speculation that he would slide up to the 3 spot in the lineup where he hit a lot during the regular season. He's slotted where he's been all postseason in the 4-hole in the cleanup spot right behind JT Realmuto. What are your thoughts? What do you make of that? Because there was talk that he would slide up to that 3 spot in the lineup, and Rob Thompson says, nope, we're not going to change it.
Yeah, actually, we just talked to Rob Thompson a few minutes ago before he came on air and asked him that specific question. And he said his initial thought was to move him up because he was so hot. But he said he started to talk to the hitters up and down the lineup. He started talking to his coaches. And he said the bottom line is, I don't want to overthink this. Everybody is comfortable the way we're playing right now. Everyone's comfortable the way the lineup is. And in talking to the players and the coaching staff, everybody basically came to him and said, hey, why don't you leave the lineup the way it is? It's working. If it's not broke, why are you trying to fix it here? And so that's the main reason. He did consider it, but at the end of the day, he wants to use the same formula that basically got him to the World Series.
Jim, you know the postseason does not reward the best team. Instead, it rewards the team who plays the best. Who plays the best tonight in Game 1? Who you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the Astros here, and I'm going to say that Justin Verlander will get his first World Series win. He's going to break a record tonight, by the way. He'll be the first starting pitcher in the history of baseball to start a game in 3 different decades. Are you kidding me? I say tonight's the night he gets his first win. And look, the one thing I'll always say is great pitching beats great lineups every single time. And that Houston Astro bullpen, 33 innings in the postseason, just 3 earned runs.
Yeah, the only other pitcher, Rocket Roger Clemens, who pitched right there in Houston during his career. Jim Bowden joining us from Minute Maid Park. We'll see you post-game, my friend. Great stuff here setting the scene. Get this. Each of the last 4 teams to enter the World Series without a postseason loss failed to win the Fall Classic. No team has finished undefeated in the postseason since the 1976 Reds. And if you think the Astros will sweep their way to a World Series title, well, you get nice value, plus 650. I'm here to tell you that ain't happening. They ain't sweeping to the World Series. You know who else is going to tell you that they ain't sweeping to the World Series? David Samson. Back here with David Samson. Last team to fire their manager in season and win the World Series was your Marlins in 2003. They fired Jeff Torborg in May. They bring in Jack McKeon. And this is similar because, right, the Phillies fired Joe Girardi in June. They were 22-29. Phillies have gone 74-48 since Rob Thompson took over as manager. He was bench coach, a little bit different because he was already in the clubhouse. Jack McKeon was not in your clubhouse at the time. When you hired Jack McKeon, realistically, what was your expectation?
To get rid of Jeff Torborg. That was the number one thing that was in my head, because we brought him from Montreal, and it was our view that he was not the person who was going to help these Marlins. We thought by having signed Pudge that year to a 1-year, $10 million deal that we had a chance to be better, and we just were not responding to Jeff. Jack comes in, doesn't know the name of the players. We help him with the lineup the first day. We hoisted the trophy on October 25th that year. He still didn't know half the players, but it was just a magical ride. The reason the Phillies fired Joe Girardi is they needed a different voice in their clubhouse. They were not playing up to their potential. Everyone was so tight. You heard Jim Bowden. Most important thing he said, although he says everything that's important, is that in that clubhouse, they're loose, they expect to win, they don't want to change anything, and they're just going out to play another game tonight. That is what Jack McKeon brought, that's what Rob Thompson's brought, and that can be very successful for a team.
I ride with Philly Rob. Those are the T-shirts that are going around South Philly right now. People rocking those. All right, so what has to happen for Rob Thompson and the Phillies to win Game 1? What are your keys to victory for Philadelphia on the road?
So let's talk about it. That the first key is you cannot say that we won the National League pennant, we're good. I want to make sure that the Phillies understand that. Bryce Harper got on the podium and said 4 more, but that has to be throughout the clubhouse. There can be no sense of accomplishment of winning just the pennant. Number 2, Bryce Harper's going to need some help. I like the fact that he's in the cleanup, though your best hitter normally hits in the 2 or 3 hole, but their lineup has done well to this point. You don't change it. I agree with that. However, you're going to need above Harper with JT and with Hoskins and, of course, with Schwarber. You're going to need them on base or getting 4 bases at once, but something that gives Harper help. Number 3, Aaron Nola. We were here at the beginning of the postseason, me and Dermish. He didn't give up a run. Zeros everywhere. And then his last start against the Padres, he was touchable. What Nola are we getting tonight? Great Nola or good Nola? You're not going to get bad Nola, but is it good or great? And to beat the Astros, you need great. And lastly, the bullpen has been an issue for the Phillies throughout the last few years, including the beginning of this year. But now the bullpen has been lights out. They've got to get bullpen perfection, and that is a joke of a phrase this time of year because all bullpen arms are hurt. All the pitchers have their arms sort of falling off right now. Blown saves happen in the postseason, but for the Phillies to win this series, they need bullpen perfection.
Sir Anthony Dominguez has been really good. Jose Alvarado has been really good. David Robertson.
They've been lights out.
Been very, very good this postseason. Not as good as the Astros bullpen. They've allowed just 3 runs in the postseason. As I mentioned, they added Will Smith to the World Series roster. They're only lefty out of the pen. All right, so the Astros are trying to win one for Dusty Baker. Won one as a World Series player, won a World Series in '81, now trying to win one as a manager. What are your keys for Houston in Game 1? The roof is closed. They're at home. It's going to be loud. They're playing with the home field advantage.
The only message I have for my guys, because we've got the best team. We have the best rotation. We have the best bullpen. We have the best lineup. It is very important that all my guys understand we haven't accomplished anything yet. And it's a little different what the Phillies did with saying, hey, don't be satisfied with the pennant. It's important. The Astros are going for a dynasty. They're going for their second World Series in 6 years. They're going to get rid of the ghosts of garbage. To do that, garbage cans, of course, to do that, you have to make sure that everyone realizes that you haven't done anything yet. Number 2, Jose Altuve. If you just started watching the Astros this postseason, you may wonder why he's paid so much. You may wonder why he's at the top of the lineup, because he can't hit. That's not Jose Altuve. He's one of the top 5 hitters in the game. He's got to get hot. He had 1 hit the last 2 games of the League Championship Series against the Yankees. That's not even him. He's a multi-hit guy every game, and we've got to get Altuve on base because you want him there when you get to Pena and Alvarez and Bregman and Tucker. 3, when you have a pitcher like Aaron Nola, you have to see, Jim talked about his pitches. He talked about his breaking balls. He talked about his 2-seamer. Houston is historically, and we'll know right away, first pitch of this game at 8:03. Altuve needs to show patience at the plate. All of the Astros need to. You've got to see whether you're getting good or great Nola. To do that, you need patience at the plate. And lastly, when you are at home in the World Series or in the postseason, it's true in Philadelphia, it's true in Houston. You want to keep your crowd loud. They're going to be loud during introductions. They may be loud during the anthem. They're going to be very loud at the celebrity first pitch. To keep them loud in the bottom of the first, you want to score first, which means Verlander has to shut down the Phillies, but then you've got to score in your bottom of the first. Scoring first is going to be critical to keep the crowd loud and put the Phillies on their heels.
Teams to score first, 23-10 this postseason.
That's a nugget.
Yeah, it is a nugget.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
What's the record of the teams which score more?
They're undefeated.
Well, by the way, that seems to be a key then.
Right, which the Astros are undefeated.
I guess they've scored more.
They have.
In theory.
They have, in theory.
Unless they won like a 20-0 game, and then they could have a negative run differential.
They only scored 1 in the game against the Mariners.
It was a big one.
18 inning. They needed that one. I got no runs in the first inning. You gave us the keys for both teams. Who's winning Game 1? Who you got? Who's your pick?
How do you go against Justin Verlander? Well, here's how. He's 0-6 with a 5.68 in the World Series. There are pitchers, hello, Clayton Kershaw, are you there? Who all of a sudden, in the World Series, they become a shell of themselves. This is Justin Verlander's time. Jim Bowden gave you the quote. I'm going to give it to you again. Tonight will be the night that Justin Verlander has his first victory ever in the World Series. And if you are the Phillies and you don't score in the first inning, which this guy over here, Mr. Dermish, thinks they're not going to, that's going to be your best bet off Justin Verlander. Don't worry about laying. Astros win Game 1.
Minus 170. All right, there you go.
Don't panic. It's 170.
I'll give you my series pick later.
I'll be here.
Yeah, you will be.
Every step of the way.
You will be here. That's fact. You're here. You're here all night. Games 1 and 2 in Houston, followed by games 3, 4, and 5 in Philadelphia. First pitch set for just after 8 p.m. Eastern time tonight. We'll have full pregame, postgame coverage before and after every World Series game right here on CBS Sports HQ.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.